being teacher-centered to student-centered in the way we think as a university is a cultural shift. It's psychological, it's in our way of what it is we value about learning. It's not about technology. It's not about the tools. They're important, they help us, but that's it. And it's really hard. For instance, we are talking all about student-centered learning up here over the last few weeks. Yet I'm the one standing up talking, and you're the one sitting down taking notes. It's really hard to change. I'll tell you why. It's much easier me talking up here. Much easier for me. Guess what? Much easier for you. Get to sit down, check my emails, Brad, whatever he's talking about, something or other, I don't know. Read the notes. It's less work than for the student. You come in and the first thing that's happening is the student is performing, the student is doing things, the student has to think about why they're doing things. You have to think about why you're doing things. Wow. That's a lot of work. Because what you're doing then is you're thinking like a designer. And when you think about you think about being a designer. Here's what happens an awful lot to us. Happens to me all the time as well. Why? Because we're busy. Right? What happens an awful lot of time is our head of department gives us a module, gives us a course to teach. Right? We get all the content, we do our notes, and we do all that work. And then about 2 months later, somebody asks us for an exam paper. So what's happened? We've done the teaching, and only then are we thinking about the assessment. So we're doing content. I am teaching them about American history. But it's only when we get to do the exam, or design the exam, which is often a few months afterwards, or the assignment is a few months afterwards, or you wake up one Monday morning and go, oh, I'm supposed to give them an exam. I forgot. It's only then you start thinking about it, and we think about what happens. The assessment is supposed to be about learning outcomes, what we want them to learn, not about the content. So there's a gap between learning and assessment, when actually they should be together. And the last thing is, for most students, when you're doing the learning bit and the teaching bit, and you're doing the content on American history or economics or whatever it might be, they're not thinking about that until 2 months later when you go, there's an exam next week. Why? Because that's what matters for them, as it stands at the moment. And what they see you as is you are an obstacle. You're my dad telling me that I can't eat the potato salad in the supermarket. So what happens? They don't come with the spirit of, this assessment is about me learning about becoming an economist or a historian. They come to the assessment as, oh, Blackshields again with another blooming essay. What does he want this time? What does he want this time? So what happens with a lot of assessment is the student and the teacher are in opposition with one another. You failed me! Or oftentimes when you're talking to your colleagues, I failed him. Purely judgment. Now judgment is important, don't get me wrong. Our other stakeholders, parents, business, our community, need to know what standards our students are at. But imagine we change the language. Imagine the student did not think, he failed me. Imagine we saw assessment as a shared experience. Something we are doing together. Me, as a lecturer, I am mentoring you. I am coming with you. The reason we are doing this assessment is because. How many times do we actually tell our students why we assess them the way we do? Why we think an oral presentation is important? Or the big problem we have here in UCC is group work, working in groups. Oftentimes students don't like to work in groups because they are used to a competitive assessment system where they are alone and they are doing their own exam. How many jobs in their life are they going to be by themselves? They are going to have to work with people. In the top 5 graduate attributes, things that our businesses look for, they look for the ability to communicate. They look for the ability to work with others, and they look for the ability to solve problems. The ability to communicate. Most of our assessment is in writing. Yet most of the work you will do in the world of work will be oral. But most of our students do not know how to speak professionally. Problem solving. Most problems don't have a right and a wrong answer. Technical problems do, but most problems in life don't. They're about value judgments. They're about trying to even figure out what is the right question. Yet most of our assessments are about right or wrong, or there is one way to answer this. Working in groups. We may come in to this life alone. We may leave this life alone, but we're stuck with each other while we're here. We're stuck with each other in our families, in our jobs, in our society, and with globalization and all that, and freedom to travel. We're stuck with each other. But do we know how to work with one another? Do we give them the structure to explore how they work in groups through their discipline? Most of the times we don't. We're frightened of it because it's lots of headaches for us. That person isn't working. That person isn't doing this for us. And for most of the students, they don't like it either. And the reason they don't like it is they don't value it. They think it's just something we do to reduce the amount of marking that we have to do.